When you hear the word paganism, what comes to mind? Sacred rituals under the moon? Connection to nature? Or something darker? What if I told you there's a side of paganism that's been shrouded in fear, misunderstood for centuries, and even demonized? But is it truly dark, or just deeply misunderstood? Let's unravel the mystery. Welcome back to Soul, Tarot, and Witchcraft. Today we're diving into a topic that's as fascinating as it is controversial, the so-called dark side of paganism. Stick around because we'll explore history, shadow work, rituals, and whether this darkness is really something to fear or something to embrace. Let's start with where a lot of misconceptions begin: history. Paganism, as a pre-Christian spiritual practice, was often labeled as evil or heretical by rising religious powers. Symbols like the pentacle, which are actually protective in paganism, were rebranded as sinister. Why? Fear of the unknown and a need to control the narrative. Imagine living in a world where your sacred rituals, honoring nature and ancestors, are called witchcraft in the worst sense of the word. It's no wonder the stigma stuck. But was any of this a darkness real? Let's keep digging. Next, let's talk about shadow work. Have you ever faced a side of yourself you didn't like? That's shadow work, a practice rooted in psychology and spirituality. Pagans embrace this work to confront hidden fears, traumas, and emotions. Here's the thing: shadow work isn't about summoning demons or doing something scary, it's about healing. It's intense, sure, but it's powerful. By facing the darkness inside, you reclaim parts of yourself you've buried. It's not about becoming dark, it's about becoming whole. Have you ever done shadow work? Let me know in the comments or share what parts of yourself you've reclaimed through self-reflection. Paganism doesn't shy away from death. Unlike many modern cultures that avoid the topic, pagans see death as part of a natural cycle: life, death, and rebirth. Working with deities like Hades, Anubis, or Hell might sound spooky to some, but these figures aren't about doom and gloom. They're about transition, transformation, and even justice. For example, honoring ancestors is a common practice. Lighting a candle for a loved one who's passed isn't just comforting, it's deeply spiritual. So, is this dark? Or is it simply facing life's truths with reverence? Now, let's talk about the rituals that might make outsiders uncomfortable. Some pagan ceremonies involve symbolic acts: burning herbs, using bones, or creating intricate spell jars. To someone unfamiliar, this might seem dark, but context matters. That bone you see? It could be from an animal found naturally, not something sacrificed. That fire? It's about transformation, not destruction. Every act is about intention. Pagan rituals aren't dark, they're deeply symbolic. If you've ever seen a ritual and thought, "What's really happening here?" Drop your questions below. Let's demystify it together. Another area often labeled as dark is paganism's comfort with taboo topics like sexuality, non-traditional roles, and personal freedom. Paganism doesn't shy away from these ideas because it's about authenticity. Exploring your identity and desires isn't dark, it's liberating. But society loves to label anything outside the norm as forbidden, doesn't it? Okay, let's address the elephant in the room: dark magic. Yes, hexes and curses exist in paganism. Are they common? Not really. Are they ethical? That's up for debate. Many pagans follow a harm none rule, like in Wicca, but others argue that defending yourself through magic is valid. Think of it like standing up for yourself, just with a bit of magical flair. It's important to understand that magic, whether a light or dark, is all about intention. Misusing it has consequences both spiritually and emotionally. What are your thoughts on hexes or curses? Do they cross a line, or are they just another form of empowerment? I'd love to hear your perspective. Here's the twist: the darkness in paganism isn't inherently bad. It's about balance. Light and dark, day and night, life and death, they're all part of the same cycle. Embracing darkness means facing your fears, understanding your shadow, and honoring the mysteries of life. It's about growth, not harm. The truth? The dark side of paganism isn't about evil. It's about depth, and if you're brave enough to explore it, it can be life-changing. So, is the dark side of paganism something to fear, or is it just another layer of a rich spiritual tradition? I'll let you decide. But remember, what seems dark is often just misunderstood. By shedding light on these topics, we can embrace the fullness of what paganism and life has to offer. If you found this video enlightening, give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more content about spirituality and magic. See you next time, witches.